It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. Our conversation with Indiana County Commissioner Sherene Hess, brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back with us in the studio.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, so let's talk. We need to get right to this topic because you have a lot to share with us today. The Sustainable Indiana County is the topic.
Yes, so I'm here, and I thank you for the opportunity to just give a little bit of an update about our Sustainable Economic Development Task Force and some of the activities that we're doing related to agriculture. So our steering committee has been very active, and we continue to meet, and we're kind of working on next steps now that we have the report of recommendations. Now we're looking at how to implement those recommendations.
Okay.
So we still have the 4 groups, and sustainable agriculture is one that's been pretty active. So we thought our little focus group, and that's the one I'm most active on because of my background. We thought it would be helpful to help our partners, our agriculture partners, promote what they are doing in the county, and not only for the producers themselves, some workshop information, but also just to raise awareness amongst the citizens, amongst consumers about where their food comes from, what agriculture, how important it is to the county, the economic driver that it is, and so on. So I gathered some information from our partners and thought I would just give a brief overview of some of those things that are happening.
By all means, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, there really is. I started to accumulate this information. I thought, wow, it is a lot. So the first group I'd like to just talk about is the Farm Bureau. And if you don't know, the Farm Bureau is one of those. It's an affiliate of the State Farm Bureau and the National Farm Bureau, so it's well connected. And Ed Rising is the president, and he tells me that the month of March is when they do their Farmers Care program for the Indiana County Food Bank, and also the Ronald McDonald House charities. So they work to collect money and also Easter-related material, eggs and candy and so on. And then they create these baskets and so on, and present them to the food bank. And it's a good way to connect the notion of the Farm Bureau and the producers, and how that can help those in need. And Ed also wanted me to mention that April is the week. April 23rd is the week where they raise awareness about farm equipment and how to be on the lookout for it. Our rural roads are sometimes you'll get behind a piece of equipment, and you might want to be in a hurry, and you might want to go around it, but just give a little bit of a leeway to those folks. They're working hard, doing spring crops and harvesting them throughout the year. We want to give them some leeway. So that's the Farm Bureau. So the next group organization that we partner greatly with is Pennsylvania Farm Link. And Darlene Livingston is here in Indiana County, and she's has a farm here, her and her family, Mahoning Farms. And she's also the state coordinator for Pennsylvania Farm Link. And she wanted to let us know that there is a Farm Vitality Planning Grant program, and that's to help producers do planning for the succession of their farm or their rural business, talk about how to do some capital planning and so on. So if you have any questions, if there's producers out there, and that's not only for current farmers, it's for individuals who are considering going into farming. She also wanted me to mention that old livestock waterers you're able to buy new, more energy efficient waterers, and there are some funds to help you with those incentives for energy efficiency. So that's you can get in touch with Darlene about that, and her number is 724-541-0387.
All righty. So those are two of the organizations with which you're working.
Yes, they are, and two really great resources to not only help producers, but to raise awareness about the importance of agriculture. And I also wanted to say about the Farm Bureau, they do a lot of promoting agriculture education in the schools. And, if a lot of people are concerned, we used to have an ag education program in every school, and now I think there are 2, maybe just 3
Yeah.
that do that, and they do a terrific job. And our technology center does a super job on that. But there are some scholarships available for students who are thinking about dairy science or agriculture promotion or food science or any of those kinds of things. So get in touch with Ed Rising about things like that if you're interested in. There's actually a lot of good scholarships out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's going to be 70-some thousand job openings in the area of agriculture and food science and, those kinds of things, food systems. So, you know, there's some jobs out there if people are interested.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's part of the sustainable economy.
Exactly.
That you talk about. You jumped right in on farms right from the start when you became a commissioner. That's pretty close to your heart, isn't it?
It is. That's I went to school for agriculture education. I landed many jobs in helping farmers and landowners with their water conservation and soil health and so on. So I grew up in a rural area and would love to see rural areas thriving, and so putting some energy there.
Yeah, it's very important for Indiana County. What else is going on with the Sustainable Economy Task Force?
Well, we are partnering a lot with Penn State Extension, and under the leadership of Tom Bresniak and Andrew Sandine, who's a dairy specialist, and 4-H coordinator Stacy Hritz, and of course Bob Pollock, who's been with the Extension for a long time, and they're telling me that they've got pasture and grazing management workshop. Did you know that in Indiana County we've got a terrain that's very amenable to sheep and goat raising? So there's a workshop about that. It's actually in Westmoreland County. There's also Youth Dairy Day on June 12th, and you can contact the extension folks at 465-3880 for more information about that. And the 4-H programs are super busy, and there are a couple of day camps, Clover Bud 4-H Day Camp and the Wildlife and Forestry 4-H Day Camp. These are for younger kids. Really great opportunities to learn about, wildlife and forestry, and they do a lot of career exploration and science experiments and things like that. So good stuff going on there too.
It really is. Really is.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some more updates on
Yeah.
sustainable economy. Now, how often and when do you next meet?
Well, so our steering
as a group,
we're working on a next group meeting of the entire task force.
Oh, okay.
We're working on what that looks like. We want to have. We're working on a new mission statement and vision and so on, and sort of a game plan of where the steering committee thinks things should be going. So we're working on that.
First was formed when?
Well, the commissioners, at the request of a number of community groups, and May of 2017. So we're going on 3 years.
Going on 3 years, and so when you think back to that time, and you were involved then,
yes,
the progress that's been made, you really happy with the way that the task force has worked out?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you always wish things would go faster, and you wish things would happen sooner. But this has been a great group to work with. And, we always are trying to get, an even more diverse kind of a voice to it, whether it's geographically or by age, or by just any number of things, backgrounds of folks who bring their talents to the group. But it's really been a pleasure to work with all the folks that are on there. And, oftentimes a lot of groups get real big and they get unwieldy, but we're pretty tight. And I think it's a great testament to how committed people are to the idea, to the notion of saving their communities. That's what it boils down to. I mean, it's all about job creation, workforce development, citizen involvement.
Working pretty efficiently then.
Yeah, I'd say it's always those little areas you want to improve on.
Well, that's why you continually meet to update,
exactly,
redefine what it is that you want to go for.
Yes,
and then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
When you think back about the successes and some of the things that you think you'd like to do better, well, they have a minute left, but what are some of those things that you think we did really well or we've done really well, and here's where we need to get better?
Well, we developed the solar cooperative.
I thought that would be right there at the top.
And we apparently are one of the top, if not the top, cooperatives in the state for the number of homeowners that have joined, and we actually have round 2. And March 14th, this Saturday, is an information session about that. It's going to be at the Coney, so there's an opportunity if people want to do. I think that is a real success story. And I mean, we have the Chamber of Commerce, we have these groups, the business community, the education community, all these different types of voices coming on board, and not ignoring the past and our traditions, but looking to build on them and look to the future.
And there it is. We're out of time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherene.